point, we started calling the Creator's world nature and man's world real life. But how do we find our way back to his world without leaving everything we know behind? Welcome to Womenfolk Revival, where we are deeply rooted and wildly intentional. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Meara. And I love this because somewhere along the way, we really started separating these two. We started calling the creator's world nature and a man's world real life. And somehow we convinced ourselves that if we wanted to go back to the creator, we had to leave everything we knew behind. And that is just not true. We don't have to escape our lives to find the creator. We've just forgotten how to see him in the life that we're already living. And one of the biggest reasons so many of us feel disconnected from this is because we have made returning to him feel like something we only do in a certain place. For me, so like going to church once a week, or the mosque or temple, or wherever it is that you worship, it's almost like we treat that's where you have to go to reconnect, and just
That's
that
where
one
you
day a
find
week
God.
for 1 hour,
Yeah.
and then life starts all over again for the rest of the week. And for me, returning was never limited to a building. It was something that I carried with me every single day, every second of the day, when we're making breakfast or driving to work, or doing the dishes, or sitting quietly with that cup of tea. And I think we've just forgotten that our creator is present in every moment of our lives.
And I do think with this disconnect from nature, it's just so weird to think about, right? Like we return to nature for like an outing, an activity to do, or vacation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as an escape, to kind of rejuvenate
Refresh us
ourselves and
for the week.
Yes. How silly is that? But that is the world that we're immersed in. This man's world is just built right on top of it. And it's there, it's there separating us from it. But yeah, I totally lost my original thought. It just astounds it just astounds me when
It's pretty wild.
The world that was created for us is almost kind of unknown to us. It's this I don't know. And I think, when you're talking about where people go to church or wherever, it's still a man's world, you know. And I'm fine, anyone can be whatever religion they want to be, but it's also man's religion in a way too, right? So I don't go to church or any other kind of establishment for a religious experience. I find being in nature, being right there with our creator, because it's what he created. There's nothing between me and his creation like a building.
Yeah.
And when you stop and pay attention to nature, when you look at nature, you look at the patterns and how all living creatures live and function, and their flow of life.
They're doing it the right way.
And there's no mistake that this world was created. And I think we've all, and I've been there before, but I think we've all gotten into this idea of evolution, right? Because science tells us that's what happened. It's hogwash. Spend time in nature and you will see it. You will start seeing with the eyes that God gave you. You will start hearing with the ears that he gave you, and you will start using your mind the way he intended you to. And I'm not saying that everything in societal life is bad. It's not. But the majority of it is. And it's doing us harm, and it's disconnecting us from the real reality, and that is we were created and we were given this natural world to live in and to be a part of,
with all the resources that we need. So like returning to our Creator isn't about waiting till Sunday or Friday or Saturday, but I feel like it's kind of with the way society is, how this needs to be done, like really fast paced, that it's just another thing on the calendar that we're going to do to reconnect real quick so that we have the rest of the week. And so that's how I feel like it fits into that. And I never went to church. Well, I did. I went to church every Sunday with my mother, but it was non-denominational, but it was still what they said, how they felt, how things should be in the sermon. And same when we went to Catholic school, where we went to school, I felt like I loved our, what was he, a pastor? Whoever he
Father.
was, I really liked him. Yeah, Father. I liked him a lot, but I've been all over the place. I liked him a lot, but it's also what they feel and their experiences that they've had for how things should be. And there's nothing wrong with going to church or going to temple or any of that. I should be going. I don't go on Fridays. But it's about remembering him throughout the day. And maybe that just starts with one simple intention when we wake up. Like, oh, Creator, help me remember you today. And not just because we have to check a box. Okay, we did this for the week. This is my religion. This is who I am. It's because we're choosing to begin our day with our Creator in our heart. And the beautiful thing about that is you can do that anywhere you are, anytime, no matter where you are. And that's the beautiful part about it.
And do it with your kids. I started, and this was another thing that my husband turned me on to. It's so, it's so funny because this is a way that I really started navigating towards how I want to live our lives. And he is very good about picking out all the things that I'm doing that I say I don't want to do, or I'm not doing things that I've talked about or that I would like to start implementing. But every morning now I sit with the kids. I wait until they're all awake, and then we sit down and we just give gratitude, gratitude for a new day, thanking God for the previous day that we had, and now we get a brand new one, and letting go of anything that we were upset about or anything that we did wrong, because it's all in the past now. And now we just have this present day to move into the future. And it's very lovely. And the kids really like it. And now I'm going to even one step up it. And I want to make a prayer circle in our yard. And,
that'll be
I want to
cool.
plant a tree and some native flowers, that have some meaning towards, prayer or resilience or just peace. And every morning, rain or shine, warm or cold, we will go out to our prayer circle, and that's where we will have our moment of gratitude. And it's a place where we can go when we do need quiet, we do need to step away and remember our connection, and remember that to take time to slow down and just know that it's not only okay to, but you should, for your well-being and for the well-being of everybody around you. You should absolutely take those moments.
Yeah. I love how you are intentional about it, and with your children too. The one thing I do love about being Muslim is every part of our day is remembering our Creator. Before we go to the bathroom, you say a prayer. Before you leave, you say a prayer. Before you eat, you say a prayer. And I know one of my grandmas, she was Catholic, she would always pray before she ate. And there was different times during the day where she did the rosary in remembrance of our Creator. But I just kind of feel like people aren't doing these things anymore. They're just going about their day. And so I wonder if we've made this harder than it needs to be, with thinking that returning to Him has to be this huge pivotal moment of, that everything has to change overnight. But when I think about the people that I love the most, that's not how relationships grow. They grow because we spend time together and because we're present and because we notice one another. And I think that's the same with our Creator, that He's simply just inviting us to remember Him every day, every moment, every second. Just even if you're, whatever it is you're doing, just thinking about Him.
Yeah. And I will always encourage people to get away from societal living as much as possible. That is my personal belief, that is what is best for not every individual, but what is best for humankind. You know, in this natural world. And I understand that a lot of people can't and probably don't want to, you know. But you can absolutely stop letting modern life consume your entire existence, you know.
Because it affects you. Yeah.
It does. It really does. All of your, you know, your aches and pains and your these diseases that have, you know, taken over, they don't exist in God's world.
Yeah.
They only exist in man's world.
Yeah.
You know, if that right there wasn't enough, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
And that's where life happens, isn't it? You know, it's not during those big milestones, but it's doing like just the dishes or being outside in those quiet and in those quiet moments that we are like, okay, we're going to take a quiet moment, and then we rush through. It has taken me years to accomplish that because I never just really understood. I was so stuck on, well, society's doing it, that this is and everyone's getting by with doing that, and it took me until I realized that, okay, now I'm not really healthy, and then I started seeing little things little by little. Okay, this is happening, and maybe this is how this should be, and then I started to see the change. So what if these moments aren't getting in the way of our relationship with our Creator? What if they are the relationship with our Creator, these quiet moments that we're having while we're watering the garden or just making dinner, you know? You just simply pause and thank Him for it. Notice the food in front of you. Notice how the taste, and not because life is perfect, but because gratitude has a way of turning our hearts back towards the one who gave us every one of those gifts.
Yeah. And, you know, and you hear people say all the time, you know, where is God now? Well, maybe everyone is just too damn loud and too darn busy to hear Him and to see what, you know, the messages around us that we're just totally
that are right there in front of your face. Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are going to push. There's going to be tons of pushback with this. Well, I don't understand why you're saying all of this. Nothing's wrong with me, and I do think about my Creator. Okay, we get that. I've been there too, where, okay, I don't need this. You know, I don't need to think about these things. I have my Creator here with me. Everything's fine, but I'm still living that crazy life, and I'm really still not okay. It's about setting those intentions and taking that time, even if it's just for a few seconds. No one's asking you to change your whole life around. There's no way you can change your whole life around, and especially in one day. You know, it's just, again, it's always about the intention.
And it's a long road, you know. It's taken, I feel like it's taken me a lifetime to get here. I mean, I feel like I kind of was always there in a way, but I was never fully participant in it because I felt like I needed to be living in the societal world with everybody else. But even now, you know, you just do what you can do when you can do it. You know, and it'll happen piece by piece, and especially when you do it slow, because it's hard. It is hard to totally change your life around and your habits around and your thinking around. So take your time with it, and little by little you will get there, and you will find you'll want to get there more and more, and you know, things start to have more meaning, and a lot of things in society start to have less meaning. So
I hear everything you're saying. My kids keep begging me for an orange in the background, and I'm just like, get her an orange, get her an orange. Yes, okay. Orange.
We have oranges right now too, and I felt horrible getting them because obviously they're not in season. But I just got 2 huge zucchinis from my neighbor down the road, and I want to make zucchini bread. And I just, of course, I can't just do like one simple version. I'm gonna, I'm like, can I do one like this? Can I do one like this? Because they're, I need to use all the zucchini, and you can freeze zucchini bread for a long time. So I did get oranges because I'm gonna do a cardamom and orange version. And cardamom. Yeah.
So yeah. Well, with what you were saying, life isn't going to slow down on its own. There's always going to be another errand that we have to do and another appointment that we have to get to. And
life will get faster if you don't make an effort to slow it down.
Yeah, life returning isn't about escaping those things either. It's just about inviting our Creator into them to make it easier for us and better to manage and not lose our minds when kids are asking for oranges. Simply remembering and simply noticing and living with gratitude. I think we really forgotten how powerful remembrance is. The more we remember our Creator throughout the day, the harder it becomes to forget why we're here in the first place. And it's not because we're trying harder, but because our hearts are just facing in that direction, towards Him. So
yeah, and not only remembering Him and why we're here, but also remember that they who established, this whole system that we're living in, they want us disconnected from Him. They want us disconnected from the natural world. Because, the natural world, it heals us and it keeps us alive. And they want us as their slaves, working hard in their world. They don't care how badly we get hurt or how sick we get, because they're going to make money on fixing you, not healing you, but putting band-aids on bullet wounds.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that
is what they're doing.
Yeah,
because if they heal you, then they just lost a client. If you're not doing a bidding, then they just lost a slave.
Yeah. Conforming to chaos.
Yeah. They want wealth, and they want control, and they want power. But the only one that has true power is our Creator, because He is the Most High, and everything is because of Him.
It is.
And we only have powers as individuals when we give ourselves to our Creator.
Yeah.
And we have health, and we have peace, and we have love, and we have everything that we're supposed to have.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, wealth is having my family and being comfortable in my environment and understanding how things work. And I did want to touch on the end of what you were saying earlier with, oh man, I just slipped my mind again, with, how it's taken forever for you to get there and how it's taken forever for me to get there. I also want to say one thing, that I've gotten to the point where now I'm at a level of understanding what's going on. But I still have a lot of work to do. Like, it's never going to end, because things are always changing, and you're always changing, and your mind's always changing, and things that you're doing are not going to be the same years ahead of when you first started. Yeah. So it's not a process of starting this transition, this journey that we're on, and getting to a place where we're like, okay, everything's perfect. We don't have to have these conversations anymore. We know exactly what we're talking about. I'll never know exactly everything that I'm never going to know everything. And that's one reason why I love us having Womenfolk Revival and having these people on Womenfolk Revival, because they bring their wisdom to us and their knowledge to us. And we learn so much more, and things we thought we knew nothing about, and then
and sometimes things that we didn't think we need to know about, but
we needed to know.
Yeah. We find that it does, intertwine with with what we're all about. Yeah.
I agree 100%.
So I would say, how I think the biggest step that we can all take on how to get more, reacquainted with the world that our Creator gave us is to put down your phone. Put down your phone. Yeah. I'm on my phone a lot because I do a lot of learning from it and a lot of planning from it. And I'm on it most when my husband's home because I know that I'm able to, he can watch the kids while I do some things. Mm-hmm. I was just at a playground with my mom, and we're watching all these, we're watching my kids and talking, catching up. And I'm just looking around at all these moms and dads that are just sitting on a bench staring at their phones. Mm-hmm. They're not watching their kids. Yeah. And some of these kids are way too young, to be like off on their own. I'm like, no, yeah. you should not climb up that because that is like certain death if you fall, Mm-hmm. And we're just missing everything that's going on around us. I mean, not only, is it dangerous in certain aspects, but, you might miss that moment when your kid finally, climbs up that big ladder to the big slide that they've been scared to do, and just a joy in their faces, and slides aren't a natural thing, right? Like that's not part of nature exactly. I'm sure you have mudslides and
hills are
sort. Right. So like I said, you don't have to escape everything in societal world, but the moments that are happening, be aware of and be part of it. Be part of life and interact with other human beings, especially your children, especially your family and friends and your community. Mm-hmm. Put your phone down. I heard someone talk about the fact that it was called a cell phone, like a prison cell, and it so is when you really think about it.
It is. It is, because you're not aware of everything going on around you. Mm-mm. Yeah. Well, I think for our listeners who are listening today and are thinking, I don't even know where to begin, we would like for you to hear this. Oh boy. You don't necessarily have to do anything to begin returning. Sometimes being still is the return. Noticing your breath is a return. Looking around at the space you're in is a return. And you can do this anywhere. In your car, kitchen, walking outside, at work, or even lying in bed before you just fall asleep. Pause. Take one slow breath. Become aware that you're here, that you're alive, that with every breath you're taking is a gift from your Creator. Look around you. Notice what you've been given. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's a meal on your table. Maybe it's the trees outside your window, or simply another opportunity to just begin again. And then thank Him. Remember Him. Carry Him wherever you go, because returning isn't one day a week. It isn't a building, and it isn't another thing to check off your list. It's simply remembering your Creator in the middle of your everyday life. And maybe that's where we've been meant to find Him all along. Mm-hmm. So maybe we don't have to leave our lives behind to find our way back to Him. Maybe we just have to slow down enough to notice that He's already there. So, if this conversation meant something to you, be sure to subscribe and follow to Womenfolk Revival on your favorite app and come join us in our Facebook community. And next week, we're going to talk about something we've been noticing since we've started slowing down. How getting quieter can actually make you notice so much more. The people, the world around you, and the things we normally rush right past. And sometimes
and yourself.
Even the little things that get under your skin. Because once you start paying attention, you can't unsee what you have just saw. So, is that right? Saw? We'll talk about that next week. So, until then,
stay rooted and stay wild.
Stay wild.